Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Grace. I'm a public utility law judge assigned to handle the case that we're here to hear this afternoon, which is 9508T in the matter of the continuing investigation of the electric purchase power cost adjustment charges of the municipal electric system of the mayor and council of Berlin. We can start with appearances from the town.
Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. My name is Phyllis Kimmel. Excuse me. And I am an attorney in Washington, D.C. I am appearing on behalf of the mayor and council of the town of Berlin, Maryland. And I have with me here a witness for the town of Berlin, John Keto.
Thank you. Office of People's Counsel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Paige Bellamy for OPC, and I'd also like to enter the appearance of Brock Miller.
Good afternoon. Staff.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Harrison Scher on behalf of the Commission's technical staff.
All right. All right. Does the town have any exhibits?
Yes, Your Honor. First, we would like to have marked as Berlin Exhibit number 1. It's a certificate of publication. Do you need a copy, Your Honor?
No.
Okay. This was filed and served on December 12th, 2025 under mail law number 325290, and we would request that it be admitted.
Any objection?
No, Your
No
Honor.
objection.
Town Exhibit 1 is marked and admitted.
Thank you. And next, we would like to call John Keto as a witness.
Mr. Keto, you can come up and have a seat.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the authority of perjury to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the testimony that you will give?
I do.
Would you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
My first name is John, Jon. Last name is Quito, Quitto.
And your business address, please.
Business address is 2300 Rexwood Drive in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Thank you.
Your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Keto, could you please tell us your, we gave us your address. What is your title?
My title is Financial Analyst 2 at Booth & Associates.
And please summarize your educational background and professional experience.
Sure. So I graduated from the New Jersey Institute of Technology with a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting in 2016. And then for the last 4 years, my professional experience has consisted of providing financial services to rural and also municipal electric utilities for predominantly with financial modeling, cost of service studies, and financial forecasting.
And do you have before you the pre-filed testimony that's entitled Revised Direct Testimony of John Keto that was filed on behalf of the town of Berlin, Maryland, revised on December 11th, 2025?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. And did you prepare this testimony and the exhibit that went along with it, the attachments to testimony?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, I'd like to mark this testimony and the one-page exhibit, which is Exhibit JQ1. It was filed on December 11th. Oh, I apologize. It was revised on December 11th, filed on December 15th, 2025, under Mail Law 325345. We'd like to mark this as Berlin Exhibit number 2.
It is marked.
Do you have any corrections to this testimony, Mr. Keto?
No.
And if I were to ask you the same questions that were asked in the pre-filed testimony, would your answers be the same as in your written testimony?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to have this moved into the record.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
Berlin Exhibit 2 is admitted.
Thank you. And Mr. Keto is available for cross-examination.
Office of People's Counsel.
We don't have any questions, Your Honor.
No
Staff?
questions from staff.
Okay. going to go ahead and mark as bench exhibit 1 the unrevised direct testimony. Do you have both in front of you?
No, I'm sorry. I only have the revised testimony.
I can get that to you.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, I realize what I have here is the testimony that has the red line and it shows the changes.
That's fine. Do you have your original schedule in front of you?
I'm sorry. What do you mean by schedule?
If we can go off the record for just a moment, please.
I do, yeah. Is there something you guys see? What do you think she's talking about when she says schedule?
We can go back on the record. I just printed off a copy of the direct testimony, Ms. Kimball, that you filed on December 4th under mail log number 324975. I did not print off the additional document, which was a cover letter. Do you care to verify that's what it is before I show it to your witness?
Yeah.
Can
you.
take a look at that and see if that's your direct testimony, please?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I think I see 3 areas of change from your direct testimony to your revised testimony. What was the cause of those changes?
So one of the first changes was in regard to our procurement process in terms of securing Berlin's power requirements for the year. So we expanded those responses and put more detail into them because we thought they were a little bit confusing and could probably be a little bit clearer.
Okay. So your revised testimony was filed on December 15th. Staff's direct testimony was filed 3 days earlier on December 12th. Did you had an opportunity to look at staff's testimony before you filed your revised testimony?
I don't recall.
Okay.
Sorry.
So why weren't the details of the additional purchases from and contracts with Constellation Energy Generation LLC included in your original testimony?
I could explore the answer further. I mean,
I'm asking the question. Why were they not included?
We just, again, we thought that we could have been a little bit clearer in the original responses, and so we probably added just more of context and detail.
Okay. You indicate in your answers that you filed the agreements in staff data request, or you provided it to staff in staff data request number 1. Do you know when that was?
I don't recall the exact date, sorry.
Okay. Do you have staff's testimony in front of you?
Yes.
Specifically, Mr. Schlett?
Yes, I do.
Okay, on page 1 of that testimony, it says that the contract with Constellation was signed mid-2020.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, well, in your testimony, your revised testimony at page 2, there's a contract in 2022, a contract in 2023.
Yes, so I guess as part of the original agreement, there are transactions afterwards that relate to the original agreement, which was in 2020, that would secure extra, or would secure their remaining requirements for the year.
Okay, there is no agreement in 2020 mentioned in your testimony. Do you see where I'm coming from? Staff's testimony says there's a contract in 2020. Yours says there's one in 2022 and one in 2023. They don't match. And I'm going to have a bunch of questions where staff's testimony and your testimony don't match. So I'm wondering where the disconnect is.
Well, I believe that the testimony was probably referring to my original testimony as opposed to the revision.
2020, a contract in 2020 was not mentioned in your original testimony either. Or can you show me where it was?
I would have to probably just look into it a little bit further to give you a better response as to why there are discrepancies.
The BP Energy Company contract, in your testimony it says it was June 10th, 2020. Is that an accurate date?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay. So I'm wondering why in staff's testimony at page 1, they say that the contract with BP was signed in mid-2023.
Again, I have to double check, but the revised testimony and the responses to data request 1 are accurate.
So again, had you reviewed staff's testimony before you filed your revised testimony?
I believe so.
Okay, so there are some changes on page 2 of your testimony, and then we just went through those. On page 4 of your testimony, the requested ACA credit factor goes from 0.00027 to 0.0031. Why is that?
So there was a $1,500 annual recurring charge that got double counted in the calculation for the ACA. So once we made that correction in our ACA calculation and the testimony, the new ACA credit was updated to that 31 number that you saw.
Okay, and where is that update in the record?
That would be in the revised testimony.
So in the revised testimony, somewhere you say why it changes. You don't just say, you don't just have the number crossed out and a new number put in there?
I did not explain why it changed. I just made the correction to the number.
Okay. Is that change shown in your exhibit JQ1?
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me where? You have in front of you both of your schedules, JQ1 original and JQ1 revised, because I just handed you your original testimony and it's attached to that.
Yes. So the $1,500 charge would fall under the Maryland RPS charges section.
Okay. And where is that in your schedule?
I'm sorry, do you mean my responses to the data request?
You did not put any data request into the record.
Okay.
Counsel for any party, did any party put any data requests into the record?
Staff did not, Your Honor.
So where in the record, what am I supposed to be approving today?
I'm sorry, Yara, what was the question that you asked?
Why his recommendation changed from 0.0027 to 0.0031?
Oh, I apologize. It wasn't on. I apologize.
Okay, sir, can I point your, can you put in front of you both of your schedules?
Okay, I have them here.
In column E, line 3 for November 2024, column E, purchase power. That number is different between your two schedules. Do you know why?
I would have to look into what would be the change. Again, the main difference that was made was the $1,500 GATS invoice that the town receives on an annual basis.
Okay,
Your Honor, could I mark as Berlin Exhibit 3 a data response?
that's fine.
Okay. This would be the Town of Berlin response to data request number 3 that was submitted on December 11th.
That's fine.
Okay.
Did you respond to that data request?
Yes.
Does he need it to refresh his recollection?
Probably. There was a lot of data requests. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Just refresh your recollection on that data request, please.
And then, yeah, Mr. Keto, could you look at, give me 1 second. Okay. It's on, okay. Okay, so Mr. Keto, could you look at in particular the response to 3-1, the second page? Well, carrying over to the second page too, towards the end of that response, to refresh your recollection.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may add some context that may help. So the town contacted all parties on Thursday, December 11th to inform us that they realized that Mr. Keto had made a mistake in his calculation. That was upon receiving data request 3, and that was prior to staff filing our testimony. So we were informed prior to filing our testimony that they would be making a change. They just weren't able to file their revised testimony until, I believe they said they needed a,
The 15th. He was unable to get the affidavit
yeah.
signed.
Okay, I understand that, but also in staff's testimony, in the working papers attached to staff's testimony is the old number, and within the body of staff's testimony is the new number, and there's no explanation for why that changed. So I don't really have evidence from any party this morning that's going to allow me to go forward unless somebody can explain it verbally. Did you have an opportunity to take a look at that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So in Berlin response to staff data request 3-1 and 3-2, we talk about a 1,500 RPS charge that there was a problem with that in the November accounting. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So if I'm looking at your first schedule and your second schedule, and I'm looking at November, and there's a change there, and that's the only change on your two schedules, but it of course flows through, then it should be a $1,500 difference, correct? Because the
Yes.
difference in those lines, I mean, I'm just doing lawyer math here, but the difference between those lines in column E and row 3 is $1,645. Which then flows through to column G, line 3, column H, line 3, then down to the bottom, the same columns, line 14 across, which then flows to line 15, which changes line 19, which is what changes the line 20. But if you're saying it's due to a $1,500 double charge, then I don't understand why the difference is $1,645.
No, this is the original.
I would have to just look into seeing why the difference is $145 from the $1,500. I would have to actually review the calculations.
Okay. Do you have Ms. Alexander's testimony in front of you?
Yes, I do.
On page 6, at line 17,
Yes.
there are two separate net metering settlement costs there.
Yes.
I see the $234,163 cost in your testimony at page 3. Where is the $2,313 figure in your testimony?
I don't believe I included that specific cost.
So you're not asking that that be included in the calculation?
Well, no, it is included in the calculation, but I just didn't specify that specific cost in the testimony.
Sir? You're not a witness.
Just to be clear, I thought you meant like the written testimony, but it would be in the calculation for the Excel attachment to
Okay,
the
where is it
testimony.
in your attachment?
I would have to look at a full version.
Okay, well, I can tell you that per Ms. Alexander's testimony, she footnotes it as being in staff data request 1, but that's not in the evidence. It's not on the record at all. So it's not in the record.
May I ask Mr. Keto a question about the exhibit?
Sure.
Is the amount that Judge Grace is asking about, is that what is in annual net metering settlement in line?
Yes, I believe so.
17? Is that
Yes,
the amount
I believe
she's
so.
asking about? And then is it, which then has a, and then can you look at footnote 3 to that?
Which again is referring to staff
Staff
data
data
request 1, which is not in evidence. Okay, moving on. So, staff's testimony was filed prior to your revised testimony. And you see some places in Ms. Alexander's testimony on page 8 and page 9, for example, where there were specific charges and expenditures that were noted as absent from your testimony. Did you consider adding those into your testimony upon reading staff's testimony?
No, I did not. I believe some of the questions were addressed prior to our revised testimony. So in the revised testimony, we tried to make as minimal, I guess, changes as possible. And so we did not include all the details aside from the revisions that are there.
Okay. The miscellaneous charge of $12,846.25 noted on the June 2025 AMP invoice, which staff found to be for purchases of RECs.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Where can I find that in your testimony?
Let me double check. So in the ACA calculation, it would be under column G, Maryland RPS expenses.
Okay. There are no numbers that match in that column. Ms. Kimmel, I have like 5 more areas where I'm not finding
Oh, okay.
that the town has reached its burden so that I can follow the calculation so that I can say whether this calculation is correct or incorrect. I can go through all of those things for the record, but I'm not sure where we're going today. Okay, on page 9 of Ms. Alexander's testimony, there's a $2,400 rec generation savings, which she says does not appear in your testimony. Then there's the $1,500 RPS charge in November 2024, and I still don't understand how that ended up being $1,645 in your schedule. And you said you needed to get back to me on that, right?
Yes, I would have to double check why there's a variance.
Okay, Ms. Alexander might have an answer for us. Okay. I don't have any further questions for this witness. Would you like to ask him any questions?
Could I have a minute, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you. Data request 3. Now, do we need to put 1 into evidence 2? Your Honor, I don't know if this would answer all of your questions, but I'd like to have marked as exhibit, Berlin exhibit
You're on 4.
4. This would be the Town of Berlin response to staff data request number 1, which was revised on December 11th, 2025.
Okay.
Do you recognize this data response?
Yes, I do.
And did you Mr. Keto at this time about that data response. I will note that there are attachments that are voluminous that I did not print out, but we can obviously make any of those available. I just want to ask Mr. Keto a couple of clarifying questions about the timing.
Go ahead.
Mr. Keto, when you revised your testimony, was on the date that you revised it was December 11th. Is that correct?
Yes, that sounds correct.
Okay. And it's your understanding that it was shared with staff and OPC and all of the parties on that date?
It was.
As a heads up before it was filed?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Anyone else have any questions based on mine?
OPC doesn't have any questions, Your Honor, but perhaps a suggestion, given the sufficiency of the evidence before you today and your questioning, it might be prudent to continue the hearing until the town at some point is able to provide you with the information necessary.
I intend to do that. Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Your Honor.
everyone will have an opportunity to file testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No questions from staff.
Thank you. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses for the town?
No, Your Honor.
Witnesses for the Office of People's Counsel?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
Witnesses for staff?
Yes, Your Honor. Staff has 2 witnesses.
Go ahead.
Would first like to call Tanique Alexander.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the testimony that you're about to give?
I do.
And could you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Yes. Tanika Alexander. T for terrific. A as for amazing. N as Nancy. Y yellow. E. K as in kite. A as in amazing. Alexander.
And could you give us your business address, please?
St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. 6 St. Paul Street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Give me just one moment. Yes.
I apologize. To ask that Berlin exhibit numbers
3 and 4.
3 and 4 be moved into the record.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Alexander. What's your position with the commission?
Public utility auditor.
And do you have with you a pre-filed document entitled "A Direct Testimony of Tanique Alexander," consisting of 41 pages?
Yes,
And was this document prepared by you or under your supervision?
it was.
Do you have any additions, deletions, or changes you'd like to make at this time?
At this time, no.
Okay. If you were asked the same questions today, would your answers be the same as stated in the document?
Yes,
And do you adopt this document as your direct testimony in this case?
yes, I do.
Your Honor, I ask that this be marked as Staff Exhibit 1,
Staff Exhibit 1 is marked.
and I'd offer that Staff Exhibit 1 be moved into the record.
Any objections?
No objections.
Staff Exhibit 1 is admitted.
Thank you.
Cross from OPC?
No questions, Your Honor.
Questions for the town?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, on page 17 of your testimony, line 12, you say the change from the previous ACA credit factor of 0.00395 per kilowatt hours to the proposed ACA credit factor of 0.00031 per kilowatt hours in this proceeding, and then you continue. But that's not what was proposed at the time you filed your testimony, right? What the town was proposing at the time you filed your testimony was 0.00027 per kilowatt hours. So how did we get from the town's original proposal of 0.0027 to this statement in your testimony and your recommendation of 0.00031?
Historically, we've always made sure to have the ACA prepared before there needed to be a second revision. There's always a discussion internally if staff approves, and then the town would make that change without necessarily having to refile. In that instant, a data request led them to refile, being that we received the information prior to their filing. I just executed that information and put it into the testimony without thinking that maybe you wanted to draw lines to how they got from one filing to the next.
Okay, so, but did you verify the recommendation of 0.0031?
I supported their updated ACA factor change, yes.
Okay, so so the only thing that they submitted in the record are the two schedules attached to the direct and the revised direct testimony. And so, and the change, the purported change in the proposed ACA factor is there. So can you take me through why that changed?
So when the utility verbalized with us that they double counted on a RPS charge, we're having internal discussions. There is a issue with the supplier being transparent about what these charges are and actually lining them out. So John has to now go back and maybe find exactly what encompassed within those bundles of amounts to be able to portray to me. That's what these charges mean. And when we looked for that, we found that there was a double counting of $1,500. So while staff has no way of being able to identify what American Power may put on their bills, it's kind of why we asked them to be more transparent. And when they were, for one charge that went through 4 of them, you were able to see them. But for this particular one, there was, a discrepancy, something I noticed in the last year's testimony. And without being able to be transparent and know for certain, then we don't know what that bundled amount of cost is to pull out a miscellaneous $1,500.
So we're supporting it without knowing what that $1,500, staff is supporting that without knowing what that $1,500.
Absolutely not. The utility actually gave us that information, and so while it may be bundled in a line item in one of those amounts, only one of the $1,500 charges showed up on the schedule. But I would assume that it is bundled in one of those amounts because, as John let me know, that they have been bundling those amounts, and he's had to detail out what they would be if I had questions.
Okay, so can you tell me why the difference in the two schedules on column E, line 3 for November 2024 is $1,645 and not $1,500?
Right offhand, I would have to do some calculations and get back to you on that. I wouldn't be able to do that here on the stand.
Okay. Your attachments, your attachment A to your testimony is your previous testimony, and your attachment B, it says it's discovery responses, but the first 4 pages are like your notes, right?
Yes, like a staff note from when communicated with the utility and the date as well.
Okay. And then there's some emails and some schedules that are attached further.
Yes, the schedules would highlight what staff saw and was able to communicate with the utility.
Okay. So can you turn to your attachments, the first page of attachment B?
Yes.
So these are your notes for this case, is that right?
They would be all footnotes throughout the testimony, yes.
Okay, these are your list of footnotes. Okay. Now, the second page of your attachment, and second, third, and fourth, you've got some dates and some summaries and then a summary of finding and recommendations. Those are your notes?
Yes.
Okay. And that's for the next 3 pages, is that right?
Yes. And
Okay.
it's kind of what I noted in my testimony overall.
Okay. So on the page that has a chart at the top, I think it's the 3rd page of your attachment B, and the chart says RPS compliance fee divided by 4.
Yes.
See there, kind of towards the bottom, under your key findings, there's a proposed factor ACA. You see there where it's referring to the original 0.00027.
Yes. And so if I would say maybe the discovery just needs to be updated to match what the utilities testimony and my current testimony. But they are just for their old notes.
Okay, and this says, in that same paragraph, it says this translates to an approximate decrease of $3.87 per month, but it's not. It's an increase. Is that correct?
Your math is correct.
So that should be, it should say increase there.
It should actually say 0.0031, the correct ACA factor. So I just would just,
ACA factor should be, okay, so yes, the ACA factor should be updated to what is in your testimony to 0.
the entire statement, I
Okay.
would like to just say.
Okay, but the $3.87. Sorry, give me a second.
Yes. Just to,
The $3.87. It says decrease. That should actually change to an increase of $3.83.
the entire statement would need to be corrected, and I would definitely support the correction to the entire statement. Because the rate is wrong, I would say the entire statement would need to be supported correctly.
Okay, I understand that, and
Mhm.
I appreciate that. That those numbers were changed based on the changes in the town's testimony. But I just want to make sure that I'm correct, that whether it's $3.87 or $3.83, that it's an increase, not a decrease.
If, you're asking if $3.83 is more than $2? I guess I just want to understand your question.
The statement here says, this translates to an approximate decrease of $3.87 per month for the average residential customer using 1,051 kilowatt hours.
I'm no longer supporting that statement because it needs to be corrected entirely based on the first pretense sentence. I would be happy to update that for you.
Okay. Keeping your finger on that statement,
Okay.
and then turning to page 17 of your testimony at line 13. In your testimony, regardless of whether it's $3.83 or $3.87, regardless of that 4-cent difference, in your testimony, it says it's an increase, and in your notes, you say it's a decrease. So I want to know, is it an increase or a decrease?
I will have to go and recheck and update my testimony and provide the proper statement.
Okay.
But if you're asking, I would need to know exactly which 2 figures are you asking that increased and decreased.
I'm asking you about the statement in your testimony about what the change is going to be to a customer's bill.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't have that other information.
Okay, so just so I get this on the record, because we are going to be looking for more testimony from all parties. I would be interested in hearing from staff on page 6 of Ms. Alexander's testimony where the $2,313 net metering settlement costs, where I can find that in testimony or in something in the record.
It's actually on the record. You didn't ask me that, but it's in the
I'm not
witness's
asking you right now.
testimony.
You were not able to answer my question about impact to customer bills.
This is a
So
false statement altogether, so there was no answer to give.
You can have a seat.
You're welcome.
Counsel?
Yes.
Also, on page 9, the 51, at line 11, the $51,385 is said to be at Mr. Kiddo's testimony at page 3, line 17 to 34, but it's not there. So I want to know where that figure came from and how it factors into the calculation.
The 51,385 you said?
Yes, sir. Ms. Alexander found there below, still on 9, a RAC compliance report $2,400 charge at line 15, and that's at line 17, the 1,500 RPS charge. I want to make sure that those are resolved in staff's calculation.
Okay.
Okay.
So far, so I'm keeping track, we have requests from page 6, the 2,313, where that came from, and
Yes.
also the 51,385 on page 9.
Yes, and further on page 9, make sure that the discrepancies that Ms. Alexander found at 15 and 17 have been resolved, at lines 15 and 17.
Okay.
And then the discussion that we had during testimony was the difference, let's see, the difference between, not the numbers, because I understand that the numbers have changed. And I'm hoping that staff's going to file a calculation that I can follow as to how we got from 0.0027 to 0.0033. And flowing through, the customer bill impact will be 4 cents different. But in Ms. Alexander's testimony at page 17, line 15, it says that customer bills are going to increase by $3.83 or $3.87 or whatever the calculation flows through.
Mm-hmm.
And in the third page of her attachment B, which at the top has a table, under proposed key findings, proposed factor ACA, it says this translates to an approximate decrease of $3. I want to know which one of those is correct.
Understood.
Okay. Next witness.
Okay, staff would next like to call Andrew Schlicht to the stand.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the testimony that you're about to give?
I do.
Can you please state, spell your first name, your first and last name for the record?
Andrew Schlicht, A-N-D-R-E-W, Schlicht, S-C-H-L-I-C-H-T.
And could you give us your business address?
I work at 6 St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202.
Thanks.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Schlicht. What is your position with the commission?
Good afternoon. I work as a regulatory economist at the Public Service Commission in the Energy Analysis and Planning Division.
And do you have with you a pre-filed document entitled The Direct Testimony of Andrew Schlicht, consisting of 5 pages?
I do.
And was this document prepared by you or under your supervision?
That is correct.
Do you have any additions, changes, or deletions you'd like to make at this time?
Not at this time.
And do you adopt this document as your sworn testimony?
I do.
This time I'd like direct testimony of Andrew Schlicht marked as Staff Exhibit 2
Staff Exhibit 2 is marked.
and would like to move that into the record.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
Staff Exhibit 2 is admitted.
Thank you.
Any questions
Staff
from OPC?
No, Your Honor.
From the town?
No questions.
Okay. Thank you for your testimony about the comparison to DPL and to also the greater PGM territory. That was helpful. There's no testimony about the town's procurement. Why not?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. You're speaking about the procurement of the...
RFPs, like the procurement of the contracts under the AMP.
I understand that the procurement was discussed as part of the, the new contracts that are being acquired and the existing contracts that, Berlin is currently signed on to.
Are you aware of how many RFPs were issued and how many responses they had and that information? I don't have that information because I don't have data requests. But did you obtain that information as part of your research in this case?
I did not obtain that information.
Okay. But do you feel like you have the information necessary to say that the procurement was reasonable?
I do, as the commission finds the pricing for the Delmarva power and light system to be a reasonable rate, and the rate for the customers of Berlin are below what is charged to the DPL customers. Staff and myself find that these rates are reasonable.
Okay. So your testimony that these rates are reasonable is not based on the procurement actions of the town per se, but more as a comparison of the price to DPL and the general area. Is that right?
That would be correct.
Okay. So on page 3 of your direct testimony, there's a chart there. This is a good glimpse into what's going to happen next year, I think. So that BP contract is going to increase next year by 95.4%. Is that right?
That is correct.
I think I saw earlier in your testimony that that's 52% of the purchases for the town. Is that right?
That is as I have it written in my testimony, yes.
You don't have any idea of what potential bill impacts will be of increasing 52% of its purchases by 95.4%, do you?
I cannot speak to the detailed, provide digits.
Do you have the percentages of the Constellation contract and the Blue Creek Wind Farm contracts?
Percentage of the total?
Yes.
Okay. I believe the energy being provided by the Blue Creek Wind Farm, that would be approximately 20 to 25%, and then the rest would be from the Constellation contract that is ultimately subject to check.
Okay. I don't have any further questions. Thank you for your testimony. Does anybody else have any questions of this witness? Okay, thank you. You can have a seat. Staff rest, right?
Staff rests.
Okay. I don't have enough information to go forward at this point. So, any party that wants to supplement its testimony or answer the questions that I've asked on the bench today can do so by January 9th. And we will have a hearing at 10 o'clock on January 12th. Are there any questions?
Your Honor, so do you want the responses in form of testimony for the record for the January 9th?
I think it would be a good
Okay.
thing.
Just clarifying.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think it would
thank
be a
you.
good thing. But also, an explanation might be nice.
Absolutely. We appreciate the opportunity to make things clear.
Okay. So I look forward to seeing something from folks on January 9th. Obviously, OPC, you can or can't, it's up to you. And I look forward to seeing you all at a hearing on January 12th at 10 o'clock. Any other questions? Thank you. You can
Thank
go
you.
off the record.